Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Love and Everything in Between the podcast. Today, we are going to be looking at a phenomenon that seems to be sweeping the nation and has been doing so for a while. It's the Japa phenomenon. But we're also going to look at the Japada phenomenon as well. Stay tuned. We'll be right
We'll
back.
be right back. So we have with us today a couple that we met, I think, 3 years ago, and next thing I know, his wife is now around, and I was like, what happened? And then we got talking recently, and I was like, oh wow, your story is actually very interesting. I would like for you to come and share on our podcast. And he's here with us, and his wife is actually virtually joining us, and I'm really, I really appreciate her doing that. And we have Deji here with us in the building. Deji,
Hi, everyone.
welcome,
How's it
welcome.
We have
Thank you.
Esther joining
Esther is
us.
virtually. Hi, Esther.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so Deji, quickly introduce yourself.
My name is Deji. Deji Toyobo is my name.
Yes.
Deji Toyobo is my name. And yeah, I'm a happily married man. Married to my beautiful wife who is on the call, Esther Oriofe Oluwa Toyobo. I don't know how else to introduce
Yourself
myself.
is fine.
That's who you are.
That's fine. Okay, so Esther, quick one. Introduce yourself briefly.
Hi everyone. My name is Esther. I've been married for almost 9 years,
Wow.
and we have 2 beautiful babies, and I'm a baby girl for life.
Yes, so
Okay, so it's really great to have you guys here. A lot of couples, I mean, we know the economic situation in Nigeria and how it's been for the past couple of years. And a lot of people, first of all, and then couples have made the decision to say, you know what, we're going to leave Nigeria, we're going to go off to another country, a more developed country. If you ask people why, a lot of people tell you, oh, you know, it's for better opportunities. But there's always a particular refrain because of the kids.
yeah,
You know, it's so that, you know, the kids can have
a passport,
a better
second
future,
passport.
a second passport, etc. And I mean, it makes sense, but there are also scenarios that we've heard of where people take this step and things go really bad, really fast. We've heard of people, you know, getting there and then divorcing, people getting there and then being kicked out of the house. It just all sorts are going on. And I mean, it would be it would be incomplete. It will make an incomplete discussion if we do not actually talk about the realities of what is happening. Now we know that both of you have both lived in Nigeria and in the UK. You've gone to the UK, you've come back to Nigeria, come back to the UK. You get what I mean? So and it's for a variety of
reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
We haven't relocated, so we don't think we're in the best position to, you know, be able to give thorough perspective to this particular discussion.
Yeah.
We've traveled a lot. We have our ideas. We have our beliefs about the entire phenomenon. But you know, it's just always better to hear it from
Someone
people who
that's
have
going through
actually
it
been,
or gone through it. Yeah.
you know.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
So maybe tell us a little bit about how you met
Your
and
journey.
your story.
Your journey. Yeah. So
I
who wants
guess-
to go first? Does Esther want to go first?
I'll say, Esther, you go first, and I'll fill in the gaps. Where I
No,
can.
this is your forte, Did. So Deji and I met at university. I think I was in my first year and he was in his final year. And he just said, "Oh, I like that baby girl." And he was like, "Yes, I'm going to lock her down after her first year of uni." And we just started building a friendship, really. I mean, obviously, I know he will say that it wasn't, but, you know, for me, it was very much a friendship. And when I think about it now, we've been dating, well, we're not married now, but I mean, if we're talking about dating life, it's probably been like 15 or so years and
Before marriage.
or more. And, pardon?
Before marriage or with marriage?
Yeah, before. Yeah. So dating in total from now until, like, if you count marriage, it's been 15 years. I've known him for 15 years.
Okay.
And at 5 of those years, we were doing long distance. So, just a bit of context, I had never lived in Nigeria prior to 2015. So in 2015, I was born and raised in London, never lived outside of the UK, bar a few years here and there, other countries, but never lived in Nigeria. But I'm very much an adventure seeker, someone who's open to, I'm a very adaptable person. So, and I thought we'd done long distance for such a long time in our dating life. I thought once we're married, I don't want to do long distance marriage, because I feel like that foundation for marriage, you kind of need to be in person with each other to sort of start that future together. So me being the most adventurous person, I said, oh yeah, I'm going to come to Nigeria. We can start a life together. And when I think about it, it was really God. God ordered that step, because I remember thinking or saying, I don't want to come to Nigeria without a job, because I think when you're idle, sometimes that puts a lot of strain on a relationship. And, if the woman's not working or the man's not working, it's not an ideal situation. And that's quite common with a lot of Japa situations, where when you move somewhere, it's trying to find your feet. It's quite hard sometimes.
Yeah.
As God would have it, long story short, I got a job, and our life just started, which is obviously a very, very like fairy tale sort of version of events. But and I know that doesn't happen for everyone, but I feel very blessed that happened for us. So I would say I had a very soft landing into Lagos. Then that's
lucky
before it
you.
showed me Pro Max, Shege Pro Max. But I think initially I still do. I really do love Nigeria. I love Lagos. I love that my children are having the childhood that I didn't have, and it's great for them to be around their own people, their culture. So I do love Nigeria, and I do. There's so many benefits. I know that there's a lot of negativity surrounding it right now, but I think if we move that away, there is a lot of positives as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you
I think just to add to that, she got the number of years wrong.
Wrong. You see?
It's actually.
I told you this was your forte. You just started.
It's actually 17 years.
Oh.
Okay.
Right? Because we dated for 8 years.
You guys met in uni in the UK.
In the UK.
Okay.
So we met in 2007, and this is 2024.
Wow.
So it's actually 17 years, dated for 8 years, and married for 9 years this year.
Okay.
Right? And the first 3 years we were in the UK together.
Okay.
Then I moved back to Nigeria in 2010. Then we got married in 2015.
So the 5 years was long distance relationship.
Yes, it was long distance relationship.
Both of you are.
We
both
were
of you are-
only
both of you
seeing
are right.
once a year.
You saw once.
We only saw once a year,
year.
every Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
So I came back November 2010. The first time we saw each other physically was December 2011.
Okay.
After that was December 2012.
Wow.
Then December 2013, which is when I traveled to propose. So in all these years, she was the one coming.
Okay.
I didn't go
Okay.
in that time. And then I went early 2015 and we did our wedding that
and
whole year.
everything,
Then
yeah.
she moved. And I think she touched on a lot of very important points. And, what you talked about in the challenges that a lot of couples have and marriage breaking up, you get to watch from other people's stories and look at certain commonalities.
Yeah.
But I think the first thing I'll be remiss to say that the reason why our marriage has been successful based on decision, and I would say it was a conversation we had, but it was a decision she made.
Okay.
Right? Because if she didn't make that decision, it wouldn't have been easy for us.
Yeah.
Because I was at a stage in my life where I had moved back to Nigeria and I started all over again from scratch.
There might have been
And at the
culture
point
shock.
where we were getting married, a couple of things happened 2 years before I sat down and had a conversation. And I look, and I think I feel the challenge that men have. We have this mindset that this is what I want to do because I'm worried about all these things, but we never have open conversations with our spouses. Because we are not quite sure how they'll take it and what it would mean. And honestly, I can't tell you where I read this at the time and I saw the information. Because we were going through some challenges in our relationship then because there's all question, what are we doing? Where are we going? You're doing long distance for a while, seeing once a year. There's a lot of stress and strain that comes. And I remember that season very well now that I talk about it because it stuck with me through marriage and helped me how I decipher a lot of things. Where I stumbled across, I don't remember, but I stumbled across something that I need to express my thoughts and my aspirations. Because if I don't, she's in a place of limbo, making up stuff in her head as to, is this guy thinking, what's he thinking, and is this serious? So at that point, it was now me having a conversation. Like, look, this, you know my intentions, but I'm restating it for whatever reason. This long distance has put a strain on that. I now got a chance to express. What another thing was, women were like, I don't really want to move, so I'm going to tell them I'm not moving. But for me, it was an understanding that I needed to create an environment of openness and not an environment of this is what I want to do and it's about me. So I went in there with the conversation hard time like, look, I am open to whatever. If I have to move, I am open to it. I need you to be open if you have to move. But for me to come, these are certain things that would be good to be in place, because if those things are not there, and we didn't have this conversation in one sitting. The first conversation was, look, I'm open. Either which way, I'm not closed off to the idea. And over time, that in itself at least would give some level of comfort. That okay, it's not as if because she's afraid, pulling me, making make a difficult decision, right? And for context, she's an only child with her mom. So now, to put that in context, I'll be asking you to leave your mom and come to stay with me. So when I began to look at those nuances, I can't just stand on my ground. While I have my whole family unit here and she's coming to a place where she has no one. And maybe I didn't even think about it that deep at the time. It was just very superficial. But when I go back in hindsight, those are a lot of things I begin to think are the nuances that helps. And these conversations, when you're trying to have them, are so much bigger than a lot of people really think that they are. So we went through that journey, and at the point where, and honestly, Esther, I don't remember, did we ever get to the place where having a discussion, who is coming, what are we doing? I don't ever feel like it was this is who is doing what. It was almost okay, if you are going to come, Deji, this is what it would look like. And Esther, if you are going to come, this is what it will look like. So it was not like looking which path is the easiest to go through. So for us at the time when we were getting married, it was like, okay, look, we're going to spend all our money to do wedding and everything. Even if we're going to come, I'm going to have to save up. Esther, I'm happy to come. But for me, for the first year and a half, I'm not going to be doing long distance marriage because I'm not going to come and have no money. So coming is not an issue. This is how it's going to happen. For us, it was almost like, because she was in education, there was that opportunity to explore that. So it was almost okay, let's start exploring on both sides, and whichever one kind of clicks. But me as a man, as we are the calculator, I don't know, say my own no go click like her own. So it was almost like, think of it like sales. You position the one that will move quickly. Knowing this other one is a long thing. But if I come with it won't work, let's do your own. It will be like it won't be received. It will be as if this was always your plan and your intention all along.
Okay, so first question for me, because I'm hearing the Japada again. So what if, because you left immediately after secondary school, you went straight into the UK and you went to school, the university,
worked
for a bit, you were married, you were dating.
Yes.
What informed your decision to come back to Nigeria? Because it was your decision to come back that informed her decision to eventually have to now come back.
So I would say our situation is a bit unique. Honestly, I wasn't ready to come back. That is the truth. My coming back wasn't necessarily of my own doing. However, I had choices as a Nigerian. What that meant was, political setting plays a huge part in it. Around that time, David Cameron just won the election. And that's when conservatives came back into party. And there was a lot of restructure around immigration.
Yes.
So at that point, I'd gotten a job offer. They were about to process a sponsorship certificate for me. And they were already in power, and they shut a lot of that down. If you notice, between 2011 and 2013, a lot of people that haven't had work permits were not able to renew their work permits. So they had to come back. I was the first casualty of that journey. You understand? So that's what led. So at that time, we've been dating for 3 years. Just marry now, quickly get passport and stay and get a job. And I would say that's where it's very important, in integrity of who you are and the standard with which you want to set is important. I said to myself, I'm not going to marry for this condition because it doesn't set the right precedence for us going into a marriage. And it doesn't, as a man, I can't be in a position where I will feel like I have control over my home and the conversation in respect of not just my wife, but the wider family if I go this route. And for me, I didn't want that. Part of it would probably be some of how I was raised to have that mindset. But a lot of people will say, but why not? Why you want to? You've been here for 10 years, that kind of thing. So I came back saying, look, I'm not going to do all this wahala, and and we'll figure out. Well, like, what happened? She said, look, we'll figure it out when we're there. We had the conversation. Look, let's give it a try. If we knew what the future was, we had no clue what the future was going to be. But worst case, we could think, okay, if we choose to get married, I can always move back if I want, right? And we go through that. But then I went to the journey of reacclimatizing, building my career back up again. I had to come back to the NYC because I didn't do all of that here. So you can imagine coming back, doing all that wahala, then getting into the labor market that you're not used to, doing all of that, acclimatizing. I left from high school, so
Obviously,
my
lots of
adult life and mindset was there.
in the UK.
I'm now coming back and having to
Adjust.
to, okay, these are the nuances of Lagos and Nigeria, right? So I did all of that. So now 5 years down the line, I'm getting married. I'm like, I have to go back and start this all over again.
In another place. You've left.
Yeah. And the year before I left, it was challenging because that whole situation around immigration affected me badly because I couldn't really work because my visa status was out of the way. It was like I was hustling in the UK. I've seen the life to hustle in the UK.
So you didn't want
I know what it's like. I know what it's like to live comfortable, have a nice apartment, then go from all of that to hustling in the UK. For those that know, they're doing packing job with Nigerian people in East London. I did all those things, almost working like a semi-illegal immigrant to survive while you're waiting for all your immigration issues to be resolved. I'd seen that life. So because I'd seen that life, I'm like, I have to say in Yoruba, that what am I going back to go on? Is it what I'm going to go and face again, to start all over again? And at that time, the labor market around that time was tough. A lot of people were going. Finding jobs was taking people 2-3 years to find jobs. You hear other people. So I'm like, if I go, for a new married, that strain is going to be a lot. And I've seen that cause a lot of issues in marriages, as you rightfully talked about.
So we see a lot of Nigerians, and especially married couples, who are, like you said, they have a pretty decent life here in Nigeria. I'm living a middle class life. I can send my children to relatively good schools. I can pay my bills relatively easily. And then they jettison all that and then go there and then they start from scratch. So maybe the wife goes to school. And then while she's in school I will be hustling and taking care of the children, all those kind of things, or vice versa. I think you've touched on it. You understand the life there, but then you were still dating. What would that be like as a married person, especially a married person with children? Because I've heard so many stories, and you know how people talk about, this person went there, and then the next thing everything just worked out, blah 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 blah. And I'm always like, yeah. So for every success story I've heard like 50 that did not work or that were totally horrendous. I know people who went to the UK and they just got stuck at a level. Like they're just there. They're existing. So I want you to speak to that.
I think for me, the way I look at it, I think I've realized over the years hearing all these stories that the issue comes from mindset. I use the word mindset. So imagine I was a high-flying MD here, doing a certain type of job, and you leave everything and you pack up and you go. Two things happen I see in a relationship. That move tends to be jettisoned by one party within a marriage. Either it's a wife putting pressure on the husband, I'm tired of Nigeria, I want to go. Or there's a husband putting pressure on the wife, I'm tired of Nigeria, now you have to be, maybe you want to go to school and to do all those things. I find that a lot of the times when that pressure is there, when things get there and things don't work out the way, somebody starts blaming the other person. And that's where I feel the start of the problem comes in. It doesn't mean that one person can be the spark of it, but there needs to be once you agree, there needs to be understand that it's not about a you or me anymore.
It is about
we have made this decision.
And this is the point.
Now, where I feel the mindsets happen, and I think it's everything in life. Because I've done that rough play in the UK before, I've always told myself, if I'm going back, wherever, no matter how big I am in my life, whenever I'm going back, I need to retrain my mindset that I got to enter street again. Forget that I was an MD somewhere before. If I have to go and be doing care or do not say, that's the mindset. Because if I don't have that mindset when I go back, what I need to do
be difficult.
to align us to keep afloat would be tough.
Yeah.
And a lot
And
of
once you
people
start running into financial problems and all those things, it starts putting the show because it's money that causes the problem.
Yes.
And the husband can say, I was an MD, there's something I can't do. I'm applying for my head of finance job and I'm not getting traction. The reality is, it's harder for you to get a job in that market, even for those that are living there with the certificate and everything. So you coming in, you need a different type of grace of God. Now, this is where the reality is. What are you going to be doing pending when those things align? Because the stories that people are taking them 6 months, a year, and they have to find a job. So even when I talk to people today that want to Japa, couple or not, the first question I ask is that your plan needs to be solid. What does your plan look like? Before I find the type of work that I want, what kind of things will I be doing? If you are not mentally in that place, I advise people don't go.
Because you have unrealistic
expectations. You need to be ready for that. If that means, okay, I'll take a part-time job. A part-time job might not be enough to cover all my bills, but it's like I take 20,000 pounds with me. Your job is to reduce your burn rate for as long as you can. So even if I'm earning 500 pounds, it's 500 pounds I'm not spending from that money.
20K must
stretch as long
because
to get to that point. And people don't think like
because
that.
I've actually seen people like sell stuff.
Everything.
They'll sell their houses and all that, and they say, "Oh, I have 100,000 pounds, for example," and then I just go there, and then I'm going to go to school. Once I finish school, I'll just get a job. Once I get a job, I'll, they have it all mapped out. Then they take 100,000 pounds, they go there, they pay school fees first.
School fees already takes like 30,
God knows how much out of the money. Then when you finish, you don't get a job. Because I have family members who, have lived there for years. They have their ups, they have their downs. I have a family member who lost his job because a company closed, right? And he could not get another job for like 3-4 years. This is someone that was born there, lived there since he was God knows how old, has worked there and everything, had a master's, and he eventually had to start working in a factory.
Where they pick cricket
No, that was even the earlier years. This one, he had to actually start working in a factory to be packaging stuff and doing volunteer work in the career he was trying to pursue. And nobody was going to pay him for volunteer work. In fact, the volunteer market itself was saturated. Do you understand? So it took years, and eventually, he eventually got a job and all that. It was a massive strain on their marriage. He's married to someone who grew up there. She's white. She's British. She's the typical middle class British person, and she's not interested in. You understand? So she didn't really understand certain things, and it caused a massive amount of friction for them. A huge amount of friction, So I that unrealistic expectations thing. It seems like a really big thing. People just think, oh, it's the West. Even if I'm doing a lower paying job, I'm earning X amount per hour. By the time you convert that to naira, do you know how much that is? Meanwhile, you forget that the bills you are paying is not in naira.
Nobody thinks in disposable income.
Yes.
That's the issue. People are not thinking in disposable income. And let's look at that your family member you're talking about. Said it took him 3 years. Now,
excuse me.
The assumption is it was probably after 2-3 years he started that other job. But imagine he immediately lost his job, maybe a month later. I said, let me just start something. You get what I mean? You might never have gotten to the point where there's massive strain. Now you might need to adjust because the level of expenses bringing in is now lower. Doesn't mean there wants to be strain, but you don't. Because let's be reality, if your husband is sat at home the whole day doing nothing, applying for jobs, you're going to say, dude, you're a bum.
Yeah.
It's not.
Because that's just the reality. But my own is, even if you go out and you come back and you only bring small money, at least you won't be seen as a bum. They'll just complain the money you are bringing is not enough. You get what I mean? And for me, it's part of the things I learned over time. Okay, even if I can't do a full-time job so that I have time to apply, do a part-time job. Then use the other days to apply. Just do something. Even the volunteer, some advice I give people today. Volunteer, because in that volunteer you might find the next opportunity, even if it's not in your field, right? So I think I see that expectation is not there. People are not ready before they go out to do this journey. I'm having a conversation with my older brother who is in Canada, and I was giving some insights, and it now even reshaped my mindset to this. Depending on the country you are going to, find out the kind of things that can even earn you money quicker, and maybe do those training in those. So you go to Canada and everybody's looking for is it white collar job?
Yeah.
And the blue collar jobs are under the
nobody's
you might look at yourself, how the hell will I be an electrician or plumber? But in those markets, it pays so much money.
Yeah.
But now, as a businessman, I can start learning the plumber and actually become a CEO and employ other people over time.
Yeah.
It's a mentality
Quality.
to change
I think
industry and whatnot. If it requires, because at the end of the day, wait till you find that money to keep your family going. And once you do that one to hold body after a while, you can now still be trying to find what you need.
Yeah.
And I say that to say because a lot of times, even in this Japa thing, I almost even tell people sometimes, an advice I gave somebody, I had a friend who in the UK got married to somebody in Nigeria, and the person came and the person was struggling. You know, when you bring your husband from Nigeria, they come, they struggle, after a while married, broke up because the husband is struggling. I almost tell people that I would always advise you in those situations, two of you move to a new country together.
So that both of you,
so that nobody, because it's hard for the person in that country to understand your struggle because they are not going through it.
Yeah.
But you see, so you're not pulling in the same direction. So if, okay, you're a UK person, you brought someone from Nigeria, you push your plan, let's go to US. You see, when two of you get to US, two of you will be hustling to one. You see that joy of, that vision and focus of hustling for one goal. Once two of you have it, you won't have time to be fighting each other and win it. And it seems crazy and outrageous, but the question is, what are you prioritizing? Your marriage together or somebody being financially viable? And I feel like that's where people don't understand the power of marriage. So when I talk about Esther, and people used to say, Deji, I said that she made her marriage successful, not me.
Yeah.
That singular decision
to come.
she made to come is one of the primary foundations why our marriage is successful. Because if she did not make that decision, imagine what new married couples are like. Say, fighting through small
random
things. They are now doing that through distance, on top of it,
and
you are now, it's too much.
Yeah.
Right? And it was so funny, when we got married, I told her, okay, I'm making this decision. I said, Esther, my hope is that. I learned the law of that. I said, look, I know in the UK, you are going to pay nursery fees to the children at 5. So read the best life coming, minimum, we have to do 5 or 7 years. So that at least when we are going back, the strain on the finances when we are going will not be, it's weird, but I was that calculated in my thought.
Yeah.
So I actually want to jump in there because my next question was going to even be about children. Because factoring children into this Japa thing is a whole other thing. And now you guys have kids. Now Esther is back in the UK. So Esther, like, I don't know, do you want to speak to that? Because that's a whole other thing.
So you know, I guess I always say this. I think I speak from a place of privilege in the sense that because I'm a dual nationality citizen, I have the flexibility of moving anywhere and not feeling like I need to leave Nigeria. Does that make sense? So for me, you know, a lot of people, like you mentioned earlier, that people leave Nigeria because they want that second citizenship or they want greener pastures or whatever. I think because I was born and raised in the UK, and my kids by default when they were born here have British passports. The urgency to leave was not pressing. Does that make sense? Because either way, even if we decided tomorrow, we can up and go. You know, so we're not running to England for a valid, yes, exactly. So the motives are very different, and I think I touched on it earlier. I think, you know, right now, the situation right now is not what I envisioned ever. I never envisioned a world where I would be living somewhere and my kids will be living, somewhere else. That was never on the cards for me. But, you know, God has a great sense of humor, and I think that God knows nothing is a surprise to God, right? It might have surprised me. Might have surprised Deji, but it would never surprise God. And there's a season for everything. And I want to just touch on this, that, you know, my children are getting to experience their dad in ways that they never have. So prior to my sort of departure, I was the one, you know, primarily doing the school runs, you know, the after school activities. I was the one, you know, shuffling them to and from different activities. And maybe Deji would only have more time with them in the evening at bedtime, you know, although I want to disclaimer, he's a very intentional and attentive father to our kids. But I think the capacity of time that he has with them now is very different to what he had prior to me leaving, right?
Yeah.
So in this season for him, it's also been beneficial. And this is where marriage for me is also like it's teamwork, right?
Yeah.
And in some seasons it requires one person to take the upper hand and be the person that is plowing the field. And in some seasons it requires the other person. And you just have to know, it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else as long as it makes sense to
you
us.
guys.
Yeah.
And I think because the foundation is so solid and because we're so great with our communication, I think we thrive in this situation. It seems odd to some people, but
Yeah.
to us, it's like it doesn't even feel like we're apart, if that makes sense. Like it's so like we constantly communicate, we constantly, have family time together. Even as weird as on Sunday lunches, I'm on video call and we're having lunch together. It's like I'm there.
Yeah.
So it's not. There is no sort of gap or separation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think maybe because also we had those years when we were dating, doing long distance, so we're kind of like we're pro. we're pro long distances. So maybe we just get better each time. Like we know what areas that were kind of dodgy in the when we were younger, and now we know how to improve on those communication styles and everything like that. So I think with regards to the children, of course,
I was going to come to the children, but answer. Continue.
A mother's role is super key, but I also feel like kids are super resilient. Like our children are phenomenal. I mean, they have not ever doubted this situation. I mean, obviously it's not ideal. They want, oh, mommy, when are you coming back? We miss you. But they have really enjoyed this time that they're bonding with their dad, and they're really enjoying the fact that they get to see other aspects of him that maybe they didn't see before, and he's also growing as a father as well, and exploring different sides of his parenting as well. So I think I don't know if that's answering your question.
Yes,
it's actually answering, because I was going to say most mothers I know that would be relocating usually want to take the kids with them, in the sense, like you said, there's no urgency for Bali. They're citizens already. It would be easy for her to take them there. Most mothers I know in this situation, because there's no urgency for a pally reason or whatever, most mothers like to go with the kids. What made you decide, or what made both of you, because I want to believe it was a joint decision, to leave the kids here? Was it because you wanted them to experience Nigerian culture, or was it because you just wanted to be able to focus properly on work and give yourself time to build, I don't know, like what was really behind it? And then how did you think that you guys would be able to manage it? Yes.
Let me take that. I think
it's both. Oh, are you answering that? Sorry.
Yeah. I think it was, I'll say it's more of the latter. Okay. Right. I think, our situation was slightly unique. She was pivoting in her career. Yeah. So because she was pivoting in her career, it didn't make sense to now have that extra burden, because she would be learning something new. Okay. And it's weird. So I use that to say it was my way of showing love. Because I'm like, you are going on this journey that you spent a year and a half, 2 years preparing for. It's scary. There's a lot of unknowns. We don't know where it's going to end up or where it's going to go. Let's reduce the burden on you. Oh. So it was my way of saying, so it is my time, because we live in a world, and let's break the narratives. Let's really stand on the table. Women feel like they are the ones that do everything when it comes to it, and men have gotten to a place of comfort that is a woman's responsibility to do it. Yeah. Why can't you go to work and come back and take care of the kids? Yeah. Why can't you come back and cook? Why can't you come back and do that? Yeah, but I dare say that there are a lot of homes where those things are not happening, but those conversations are not being had in public. They are hidden behind corner, and the narrative out in the open is that it's the wife that does it. It doesn't still diminish the work of the wife. But there isn't a lot of conversations as to where her husband stepping up and doing the other part. So for me, I saw it as a way of saying, this is about you going to get what you need to get for you. Knowing the journey she'd had to go through, both emotionally and career, to get to this point where she needed to take this journey. So I'm like, I'll figure it out. Go. God has been faithful because we've got a great support system here that we can do it. What Nigeria offers is you can do this more comfortably.
Yes. Because you have family.
Because you have family, you've got help, you can pay for certain things that you couldn't pay for when you are abroad. That's just the reality.
I love it.
Doesn't mean it's not hard for the first reasons you talked about, of her not being with her kids or not doing all those things. Yeah.
But it was really about, like she talked about, this is the season. And to be honest, I'm honest, we didn't even know how long it was going to be. We stepped out in faith.
Yeah.
What we believed was God was saying, this is the next step that we need to take, mostly to help our more. And what a lot of men, they probably understand, but we don't have the conversation a lot is, you see, your wife succeeding is your success.
Yes.
Right? So people need to understand that you elevate your wife, you make her be successful, you are succeeding.
winning.
The same way we feel this pride in our children becoming somebody. It's weird. We feel this pride in our children becoming something. We forget that our partner, our helpmate, truly we need to invest in them to become something. So I saw that this is the time to invest in her. You get what I mean? Women would argue all the things she does to take care of the family, to allow me to do the bits I do, was her investing in me. So it is my turn to pay that forward for this season. So why not? So when people ask me, well, how are you doing it? Is it hard? I'm like, it is actually not. It's weird. I tell people that it is none of those things for me. It's not as hard as people make it out to be.
Yeah.
And part of it is, she mentioned, I genuinely take pride in being a father. And that's why I tell people I'm not having more than 2. Because it's not about the money.
Your capacity.
I tell people that it's not a money thing. Even if I had all the money in the world, it's about, like, I want to be there as much as I can. So if certain things in my life would take time away from it, and I can't be there for all my children in a similar capacity, I feel that with my second child. How much did I do with my daughter? I didn't quite do. I've not even spent time with the boy to ride bicycle yet, and I'm feeling bad.
So,
so it's interesting.
Esther, is there anything else you want to chip in that regard?
I think he's basically hit the nail on the head. I think in this season, it's not hard because we have the support of so many people around us, and also the support of each other. And I think, like he said earlier, a lot of men do it, and it's not. They're not asked. Women are not asked, oh, how are you coping? It's just like, oh, it's BAU. She's getting on with it. So I think in our culture, it's very unusual, but it shouldn't be unusual. It should be
the norm.
It should be a norm. I think we, as parents, as married couples, we need to learn how to collaborate together. You know, and we need to learn how to share the load. But I know. It depends. I'm very traditional as well, but I'm also very, very also about equality as well at the same time. So it depends. I think in this, and it's seasonal. It's not forever. Like, this is just a season.
Yeah. Okay. So
this season.
Okay. No, please. Are you done?
In this season, he's being a rock for me, and he's allowing me to propel myself into the next part of my career, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
All right. Amazing. So I wanted to actually even talk about, if people know, it's they know that their expectations might be unrealistic, and are saying, okay, you know what, I'm willing to take the pay cut. I'm willing to rough it for a couple of years. I'm willing to change my life, to downgrade my lifestyle, just so that, I can get through these next years. Are there things you can do to prepare? So, for example, there's a saying about a soft landing. For example, you're moving to a different country. How about instead of just throwing everything and the baby, the bath water, everything out of the window and just moving? How about you go there first? You do a taster visit. You stay there for 3 months, 6 months, then you come back. Just so that you can prep yourself. 1, 2. How about you talked about being a plumber, being an electrician, as careers that people look at here and look down on, but they are actually paid well. So how about starting to learn the trade from here, so that when you get there, it's about certification and stuff like that. Like, what would be your advice in that regard? Because I feel like it's just something that. So I think my biggest peeve is just that unrealistic expectation. When I just hear people say, "Oh, I'm relocating. Oh, I'm going," like as if you've discovered where the end of the rainbow is.
I saw the gold is there
waiting for you.
You're going to hear it. I'm thinking that you're going to hear it. I know people that live in. I tell my wife, I say, I cannot live in the UK. I can't.
And I love the UK.
God bless you, but I can't, because I know how much it is to pay for for childcare, for a minder. I know how much. There's no driver. There's no car. You understand? I know what it is like. But you pay for the structure. So, but sorry, it's not our argument. You know, I just want to hear.
Yeah.
You, maybe we should start with Esther because you know she's working in the UK at the
now,
moment.
yeah.
And then you know Deji will
All right.
also give us his own perspective.
So is your question, just to clarify, is your question basically what would I advise people who are thinking of like
Yes.
changing careers or moving
To move,
abroad?
Yeah.
who want to
Is that what
relocate?
you're
Yes,
asking?
yes. How should they prepare?
Okay, so I think first of all, be open to learning, right? That's number one. And also be open to sometimes you have to take a step back to take a step forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was in a career for over 10 years and I was a quite senior position within my career. And, you know, naturally, a lot of people are very fearful of pivoting, especially when you're in your mid 30s, closer to 40 than you are to 30, right? It's a very brave move to pivot in your career and try something new. But, you know, God honors courage. He honors, you know, he wants us to be fearless as people. So I would say, first of all, do your research, right? Like you rightly said, do your research, know what the lay of the land is, and manage your expectations. Yes, I have huge aspirations, I have huge dreams, but at the same time, I was willing just to get my foot in the door. And even if a role thankfully the role I got was quite good, but even if I got a junior role, I was happy with that because for me, I was thinking of the bigger picture, right? So it wasn't just about, oh, you know, I have to get earning 6 figures straight away. You know, sometimes Nigerians, we have a lot of grandiose, you know, ginger.
Dreams, yeah.
And because you're earning 6 figures in Nigeria, you want to be earning 6 figures again when you're abroad. But it's gradual, you know, and every day is a school day. There's no, you know, it's not because you started here, you've gone backwards. No, what? Change that mindset. Change your mindset. Do your research. Invest in yourself. It's never too late to learn, to relearn, to unlearn, and to cultivate new skills, new habits. And the world is your oyster. Like there's so much out there. Just ask questions, use your contacts. Don't be shy to say, oh, I don't know this. Can you teach me more about this thing? I think in my journey, the biggest instrument that God gave me was my friendships, right? And it's weird because as women sometimes, unlike men, and I always admire this in men. Men are very courageous about discussing about money, business deals. You guys are not. You guys are real to that extent, right? With women, sometimes we're quite nervous to be open about, you know, conversations about finances, about salaries, about money, because it's a kind of a touchy subject or we're quite sensitive about it. But I realized that in this pivoting journey, when I started having those conversations with my nearest and dearest, so much information, so much like, you know, experience that they can share with me. And that helped me as well. So no man is an island. Talk to your people, ask questions. Don't ever feel like any question is a silly question. No question is. We're all learning together. And, you know, just be brave and be willing to start somewhere that may not be your, you know, end goal, but it's a step that direction. Yeah.
I'll say for me, there's a huge faith journey that is involved. Like I really have to, and it doesn't mean that people that are not believers don't go on this journey and it works out. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I truly believe is there is a world where your expectations needs to be managed in a way that it affects the decisions that you make. And it's weird, we were reading a Bible verse yesterday I stumbled across, and it was a huge place about talking about contentment. I think I was looking for Philippians 4, but the part of Philippians 3 finishes in start of Philippians 4. I said, no, let me just read that part. And then I just got stuck there. And I'm like, wow, this was amazing, because I was talking all about contentment, being content in difficulty and being content in abundance. All at the same time. And that blew my mind away, because what he was saying that, look, wherever you find yourself, in whatever situation, just be content. It doesn't mean you are not aspiring for more, because God has promised you abundance.
Yes.
It just means that where you are, whatever you find yourself doing, you are happy, you are comfortably there, and you are being diligent with what you have. Now, what I find that happens is there isn't, you see, we could be balling here in Nigeria, and then when we are going, we are not having the real, you see, the world is devoid of real difficult conversations. So the conversation I have with Esther is, when we are not having difficult conversations, we are not really talking to each other. We need to get comfortable with having difficult conversations.
Yeah.
When we are doing that, it doesn't mean we are agreeing. It just means we know what each person is thinking.
Yeah.
So when things start happening,
there's more consideration, there's more grace, there's more acceptance, there's more contentment.
There's less surprise.
So you are an MD here in Nigeria, you are moving, you are not earning anymore. Your wife does not know that you are feeling insecure about that journey you're about to go on. Your wife does not know that your wife cannot communicate to you that, dude, I might struggle when you're not making this much money because I'm used to this standard and this lifestyle. Be open about those things, even if they seem unfair.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Just say it out to your spouse. So that when you get there and things start happening and she starts reacting a type of way, you know it's coming from that feeling. You can call her and say, look, I understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling. But you know we agreed on this journey together and we can push through. In this season that we are in. It creates an environment for the right type of conversation. Because if she's feeling frustrated because of those things that she was used to, you are feeling frustrated that you can't provide. When those two worlds collide, it becomes a vicious cycle that cannot be contained. And then resentment begins to be set in. Yeah, so I said that to say, then, the conversation, what she said about communication, that's where it really now gets affected. So because of that communication that is in there, when you're in the heat of difficulty, it's hard to come together. And obviously, you now add financial pressure on top of it, it just becomes more difficult. And you'll be surprised the amount of marriages that can't have financial conversation. Let's forget Japa, everything. Even regular marriages that engage don't even have financial conversations. Right, so exactly. So that now even adds on top of all of that, because a man is not used to divulging how he's making money, what he's earning. Now he's not earning anything. So since I didn't know, just provide.
Just assume.
You get what I mean? Just assume. So a lot of people do not understand that a lot of the things you hide in your marriage with money now begin to come out. The way COVID brought a lot of things out, where everybody had to be together in the house together, and it becomes to be a lot of those things. So in preparation, the first thing I would advise is, if you are people of faith, faith plays a really big part in it. It really needs to be something that you sit with God and you ask for the strength to do before you start, whilst you're at it. And what I also advise a lot of it is, then that will give you that will propel you to the mindset to say, what do I need to do to even prepare myself for what this journey begins to look like? Because a lot of it is, everybody Japas based on, I tell people that, look, if Esther said we are privileged because we have the passport for the children, I'm not under any pressure to leave. I don't advise my situation on anyone else because they are looking for passport. My older brother went. They don't have the luxuries that myself and Esther. So I don't use that to judge that people shouldn't go. But other people don't know, I want a stable health situation and whatnot. I'm like, I have a reason to run with that because my dad passed away due to health situations and a lot of it was negligence. So if I was really looking for that, that was a great excuse to also run also. But I've gotten to a stage in my life, to be fair, what really drives me is where I am running to, everybody there is running to my continent. So me, I'm now running back over there. Now, I also have another insight of, I got the privilege. Like, if you notice, all of us that went to study here, we have a assuredness in being African. Apart from those that just hate Nigeria and want to change.
Yes.
So Esther being open for that made it that my children can really know who they are. So whenever we choose to leave, there is no doubt of what that is. So I say that to say, at the end of the day, when you need to make those decisions, I would put, people use family as a reason, which is important. Begin to look at it and agree that you are making the sacrifice, because then when you are doing that, whatever you need to be for your family to succeed, you will be. And it's an expectation. Same way you can have an expectation of your wife to be something and she's not. Even when you're in a country, you'll be frustrated. Let faith really lead the way as you are doing it, and begin to really fight the real problems you have in your marriage and attack them. Because ahead of when the storm comes, because it will come. And it's those things you've addressed that will prepare you to handle it. And even if your lifestyle might never end up being what it was before, you understand that you are making that trade-off. You see, people don't like to have the conversation about trade-off. I'm leaving Nigeria to go here. Before I could have been making X amount of millions here and living, but I can't do it there. It doesn't mean you can't aspire for it and keep walking towards it, but the journey might look a little different. So all the stuff Esther said, the research, look at the industry, being more open, you begin to see how can that, if my goal is money, the route to the money
Money.
might look like different things.
But at
So
least-
be open to what the route to that money
Money
can
could
look
be.
like. And I think if you begin to have that mindset, you will do what you need to do, as long as it's legal,
Okay.
to get there.
So, first of all, thank you guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Really appreciate you guys taking the time out for us. We also, like we've learned a lot from your journey, and we hope our viewers to have learned
Something.
a couple of things. We believe that you guys have gotten it figured out, and things are going to really work out for you. Well, for you.
Amen. Amen.
I mean, you have the foundation.
Sure for it, yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, there you have it. To Japa or not to Japa, we've given you our own
And Japada.
our own sense. Yes, to Japa or not to Japa or Japada. We've given you our own 2 cents. Deji and Esther have also given you a great perspective. If you have any questions that you want answered, feel free to send them in. You can also leave a comment on this video, and we'll definitely get back to you. Please don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. And thanks for watching. We are now going to go into the game challenge.
But I don't like.
Yeah, this part she doesn't like. But you never know. Today might just be your day. If it be you. All right, guys. Thank you, and see you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Another challenge. Yeah. This one is first to spill. So one person is gonna have water in their mouth, and then the other person is gonna try to make them laugh. And if they laugh, they lose. But if they don't laugh, they're the winners. So just boom. Kindly drink the water, please. Who's starting?
Let me start so I can know what your tactics are.
The tactics to make you laugh.
We have a timer.
You want to swallow it?
Wow.
How do you know I was going to swallow it?
Because it's you.
I'll let you know. All right. In 3, 2, 1, start.
Do you remember that day that I dropped you off? And then I knew you were going to go and buy the ice cream. So I got into my car and I was driving away. It didn't take you long. Walked to the ice cream man to buy ice cream. I called you. Wow. So we're going to be boning now, huh? I'm going to be boning now. I'm going to be tight in face, huh? Don't swallow that water. Don't swallow the water. You didn't have enough water. That was the problem. Your cheeks should be full. Your cheeks should be full. Your cheeks should be full so that there's no way. If you don't laugh small, I'll do my own.
Do your own.
Let it all out.
Hey. So, you remember when your son found out how much Eric was earning and he was like, excuse you? You've been what? And when to catch you now. Chai, I have to think of something seriously. Why is nothing coming? What if? Like I said, I don't know what's going to help me. Why?
You don't have to. You don't have to make a sound.
I'm just trying to.
You can make a sound.
Make funny moves.
Oh, okay. It doesn't have to be. I have to tell him
But
something.
you're not touching.
Okay.
All right, of course.
Why?
Okay. All right, let's go.
Tomorrow.
So, and then try to face we more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There. I'm trying to help you. Sorry. Sorry. Don't be angry.
All right, let's go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Tenny and Iron, who has the smelliest farts? You want to laugh, I can see it. I can see it in your eyes. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Getting better.
Wow, this game is getting tougher. Are we gonna get a winner?
The pressure is getting worse and worse.
Alright. This time around, get creative. No use your words.
Who dances like this? Don't know. Laugh now. Why are you not laughing? Laugh now. I want not to move. Help me. What am I going to have to do it time? Because
No, but the beauty of it is you will not end up entertaining the viewers.
so at our own stupidity now, we should not be. Rogba, laugh now. Please now.
Because you said it, I'll
Laugh.
just because you said it, I'm not laugh. Confirm.
What's the paro?
Don't be laugh.
Because I'm struggling to see your face.
Oh, okay. Your tongue tie. Your
So we've done 3.
tongue.
Yeah, this is 3 now. So that's remaining 3 more.
Yes, okay, the game, yes. The remaining two.
Okay, so I mean this is the last round. Okay.
So remaining two.
But you didn't-
5 is the last.
Oh,
Okay.
you didn't laugh at when they said I should spray her money so that she can laugh. She didn't laugh. I was spraying the money, and she didn't laugh.
What do you mean I didn't laugh? Me that I laughed quickly. Star, get out.
Laugh. Same you trying to hype you, selling yourself out.
Because I already told them
Why
already.
selling yourself
I
out?
already told
Why you
them.
letting the world know? Huh?
I didn't make money.
Huh?
How I didn't make money? Who will make you laugh? I don't know.
What people have said.
They have said.
Just trying to reason it.
And you can't touch the person. Try.
That's what she's feeling. This big game, man.
Alright.
Big game, man, will have made us laugh. She sabi the way.
Alright.
You know who Big Game Man is? Big Game Man.
Glory.
And external. They both have this thing.
That would have been better. Because we know each other, we will not laugh. Somebody else making us laugh would have been better.
They would have played that role.
Yes. Did you not watch the video I made of her? Don't know what I did, man. I told them do like this. Like this.
Alright, let's go.
Are you recording?
Don't do now. Finish this round now. So to add another round. What are you ranting about? Nah. Say you're the add round. Shit.
I'm gonna see you all. Even if you try to do it, I'm gonna do. I'm gonna.
So you cannot play it back in slow.
I can play back in slow. Now use it to judge. Now put replay.
Now put a face mask and say, who loves?
Okay.
Sorry. Your face, you're obviously trying not to laugh. Yes, you are. He's trying to laugh. Your face is like a mirror, you know, like, yeah, so when you're ready. Well, when she's ready.
We're ready, Jonas.
Yeah, she's not ready. Like I said, this, look at your face. You're so, Tolu, you're dead. Tolu, you're so dead right now. That's it, the water is one dripping. Tolu, you're so dead. Like, once this water comes out of her mouth, like, she's gonna rip your eyeballs out. Yeah, I'm sure she sees that.
Time up. Time up.
It wasn't time up. Why did you say time up?
Time has up.
Time just upped.
Time has up. She
Nice.
forced it before.
You're a bitch.
So that can kill you.
Like I said, you're dead. So this is a tie.
Okay.
You have
I
not
mean-
done your own.
Not on your own.
It's
many
2
do-
2, I've done 3.
Not on the third round. You not on the
This is
third round.
Eh.
Yeah. You have to laugh. The water is small. This time around, she's allowed to touch you. You when you're ready, just say I'm ready.
I'm ready. Big amen.
Listen, try to expose me. Yes, that's better.
Big amen. How are you? Not touching you. I not touch you. What is it? This one cannot even be playing with you again. Can't toast you, can't do anything. Just smile. No, that is disqualifying me. I should touch your nipple. Touch my nipple. No, you cannot touch me. It's not same shots.
Hey, it wasn't.
He says, wow, when you paused my whole head.
So apparently I would have won if she didn't have small water in her mouth the first time.
What do you mean by small water?
Then she was now ready for me. But it's okay. It's a tie.
It's a
That
tie.
is why we're a couple. We're a team. Make it happen. Send out. Send out. Send out.
It's now you know we're a team, we're a couple. All the other ones, do you remember we're a team, we're a couple?
But I don't really.
That's why we shift. Please join us next time and like
Please join us next time. God,
and like we always say, please like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. See you next time.
see you next time. Oh, you're out of Kai? Oh, I didn't know
In the
that.
heat of this beautiful
I
advice.
didn't even know. I didn't know.
Try.
So did it? What did it?
Where did it
end
stop?
Just before.
Ending up. Okay, all right.